So India has just launched one of its most ambitious employment plans to date. It's called the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana, or just PMVBRY for short. And the goal is huge, to completely reshape the country's job market. So what's the big deal here? Well, for starters, this is the big deal. You're seeing that right. The government is pouring nearly 1 lakh crore rupees into this plan. That's a massive amount of money, and it tells you right away that this isn't just some minor policy update. This is a major investment. But, throwing a ton of cash at a problem is one thing. Actually making it work is a whole different ballgame. So how does all this money actually turn into new jobs for millions of people? That's the real question, and that's what we're going to dig into. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big picture, then we'll look at its really unique two-sided approach. We'll break down the benefits for both new employees and the businesses hiring them. Then we'll see how this whole strategy has evolved from past schemes, and finally, connect it all to India's long-term vision for 2047. Okay, first up, the grand strategy. What is this massive plan actually trying to accomplish? The numbers are, well, pretty staggering. The goal is to create over 3.5 crore formal jobs. We're talking jobs with Social Security benefits in just a 2-year window. But what's really telling is the specific target of nearly 2 crore first-timers, people entering the formal workforce for the very first time. This shows you the plan isn't just a short-term fix. It's deeply connected to India's larger goal of becoming a developed nation by 2047. So how in the world does the government expect to hit those huge targets? It all comes down to its most innovative feature, a dual-pronged approach. And this is really the secret sauce of the whole thing. Instead of just pushing employers to create jobs, the scheme tackles both sides of the job market at the same time. On one side, Part A gives a direct cash payment to new employees. That boosts the supply of people wanting formal jobs. On the other side, Part B gives a monthly cash bonus to employers, which boosts the demand for those workers. It's a really smart attempt to create this powerful, self-reinforcing cycle of job growth. All right, so let's zoom in a bit. If you're someone just starting your career, what's actually in it for you? First things first, who exactly qualifies? Well, the scheme is laser-focused on what it calls a first-timer. Basically, that's anyone who has never had a formal job with an EPFO account. That's the main Social Security and Retirement Fund in India, before August 1st, 2025. If that's you, you're the prime target for this cash boost. It's all about encouraging that first step into the formal economy. Now, this isn't just a simple handout. The scheme is designed very cleverly to get people to stick with their new jobs. After you've worked for 6 straight months, you get your first payment. But to get the final chunk of the cash, you have to stay for a full year and complete a mandatory financial literacy course. It's a pretty novel way to link the benefit to both job stability and, building good financial habits. Okay, so that's the story for the employee. Now let's flip the coin. What about the businesses that are supposed to be creating all these jobs? What's in it for them? For employers, the deal is a direct monthly cash payment for every new person they hire under this scheme. But look at how it's structured. It's tiered. The higher the employee's salary, the bigger the monthly payout for the company. The message here is pretty clear. The goal isn't just to create any jobs, it's to encourage better paying jobs by helping businesses offset the cost of higher wages. And this right here is a really important strategic detail. You see, while most businesses get this financial support for 2 years, the manufacturing sector gets it for 4 years. That's double the time. This is a very clear signal of industrial policy. It's a long-term boost aimed squarely at domestic production and the Make in India initiative, a sector that's seen as absolutely critical for creating jobs on a massive scale. So we've had job schemes before, right? What makes this one so different? Well, the PMVBRY isn't just new, it's a real evolution in the government's thinking. If you look back at the history, you can see the playbook changing over time. Past schemes, like PMRPY and AVRPY, were all about subsidizing Social Security contributions. It was kind of a hidden benefit that showed up in the accounting. PMVBRPY marks a huge shift away from that model and moves towards something much more direct, tangible cash in hand. And that brings us to the 3 big game changers here. First, direct cash. It's just more visible, more immediate, and frankly, more psychologically powerful than a hidden subsidy. Second, the whole scheme is built on a high-tech backbone to prevent fraud. And finally, that mandatory financial literacy course. That's all about helping new workers build a stronger foundation in the formal economy. Let's just talk about that tech for a second. So how do they stop people from, creating fake or ghost employees just to collect the cash? A huge part of the answer is this: face authentication technology. New employees have to register using a biometric face scan, creating a really strong defense against fraud and making sure the money goes to actual people in actual jobs. So with all these new ideas and all this tech, what are the potential roadblocks? And what's the ultimate goal here? Of course, no plan is perfect. The biggest challenge is that by its very design, it only helps the formal EPFO-registered part of the economy. That leaves out India's massive informal workforce. There's also a real concern that smaller businesses, the MSMEs, might find it tough to navigate all the digital paperwork and compliance needed to get the benefits, especially if they don't have a dedicated HR team. And this quote really gets to the heart of the matter. The real test for this scheme won't just be about hitting a number on a spreadsheet. It's about whether it can actually spark a deep, structural change in India's economy, pulling more and more people into formal jobs and building a stronger foundation for the future.
Which leaves us with the one big question. Years from now, will we look back at the PMVBRY as a truly transformative engine that created millions of quality, sustainable jobs? Or will it be seen as just a massive cash transfer that didn't really change the underlying structure of India's job market? Well, the answer to that will be decided by how well it's put into action over the next 2 years.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into the details of complex topics to bring you the essential insights. Today, we're tackling a question that's not just on the minds of policymakers, but frankly, affects millions of households across one of the world's most dynamic economies. Picture this: India, a nation of over 1 billion people, with a staggering 12 million young individuals entering the workforce every single year. Yet for all its rapid economic growth, it's been grappling with this persistent challenge of, jobless growth. That paradox where a surge in GDP hasn't always translated into meaningful, formal employment opportunities for everyone. It's a fundamental challenge, really, affects families, communities, the whole future. So today, we're unearthing a groundbreaking policy, the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana, or PMVBRY, an ambitious scheme that's not just aiming to create jobs, but to fundamentally reshape how India tackles this enormous challenge and formalizes its economy. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a single policy aiming to create over 3.5 crore, that's 35 million formal jobs in just 2 years, and backed by a staggering nearly 1 lakh crore rupees. That's roughly 10 trillion Indian rupees. Huge numbers. That's precisely what India's PMVBRY is setting out to do. This ambitious scheme came into effect on August 1, 2025, and it represents a really significant strategic evolution in how India approaches employment.
Yeah, and what's truly insightful here is that the PMVBRY isn't really another job creation program, not just another scheme. It's really a cornerstone policy intervention designed to aggressively accelerate formal employment growth, deepen economic formalization, and align precisely with India's long-term vision of becoming a developed economy by 2047. The Viksit Bharat at 2047 goal. Our mission today is to break down its innovative dual-pronged strategy, the cutting-edge technology underpinning its implementation, and its potential to profoundly reshape India's vast and complex labor market. We'll explore the specific, tangible incentives it offers, both to new employees and the establishments hiring them, and how it meticulously learns from the shortcomings of past schemes and the strategic thinking behind its very deliberate design. This is a truly comprehensive and, forward-looking policy that we're about to explore in depth.
Okay, kicking off our deep dive, let's look at the very genesis of this flagship initiative. Where did it come from? The PMVBRY was first announced in the 2024-25 Union Budget, nestled within what the government calls the Prime Minister's Package for Employment and Skilling. Now, this isn't just a casual announcement. It explicitly links job creation to that Viksit Bharat 2047 vision, the aspirational goal of transforming India into a developed nation by its centenary of independence. That framing is crucial, I think. It tells us this isn't just some short-term fiscal stimulus to boost numbers for a quarter or two. It's framed as a long-term strategic investment in human capital, a clear recognition that a skilled, consistently employed workforce isn't just, a social good. It's an absolutely fundamental prerequisite for national progress and economic stability.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you'll see this scheme is more than just an economic tool. It's also a deliberate communication strategy, a clear political and fiscal commitment that aims to reframe a national narrative. It's designed to shift public discourse from what has often been perceived as job scarcity towards a more proactive narrative of job creation. And this is a direct, forceful response to that persistent economic observation of jobless growth, where, despite impressive GDP growth rates, often among the highest globally, these haven't always seamlessly translated into widespread formal employment opportunities, which leads to social and economic unease. Furthermore, it directly confronts two other critical structural challenges: persistent high youth unemployment, which for ages 15-29 can hover around 10% in some demographics. That's significant. And the surprisingly low female labor force participation. India's rate has historically been stubbornly low, maybe around 20%.
Which is a huge untapped resource, right?
Yeah. Exactly. A significant untapped resource. By bringing more women into the formal workforce, the government hopes to see this jump significantly, perhaps to 30-35% within the next 5-10 years. That would unlock massive economic potential and foster greater gender equality in the workplace. So this scheme, with its ambitious target of creating over 3.5 crore, 35 million formal jobs, and specifically targeting 1.92 crore, that's 19.2 million first-timers, people new to the formal economy, all backed by that substantial financial outlay of nearly 10 trillion rupees, including 248 crore specifically for administration. It's a tangible, very visible demonstration of the government's serious intent and action.
Now, what truly sets this scheme apart, and perhaps makes it so potentially potent, is its ingenious dual approach. It's not just pushing from one side, it's tackling the labor market from both ends at once. The PMVBRY distinguishes itself with this dual-pronged incentive structure, a sophisticated design targeting both the supply and demand sides of the labor market simultaneously. And this is a significant evolution because it moves decisively away from indirect subsidization, which was common in previous schemes, towards direct, tangible cash incentives. So instead of just covering, say, provident fund contributions for employers, which can often feel like an abstract accounting entry.
Right, less visible.
Exactly. This scheme puts transparent, visible money directly into the hands of both the new employees joining the formal workforce and the companies hiring them.
That's a critical point. You might ask, why target both sides? Wouldn't it be simpler just to incentivize employers? Well, history, both in India and globally, shows us that simply subsidizing one side often leads to unintended consequences or less than optimal results. By offering benefits directly to new employees, that's part A of the scheme, and simultaneously to the establishments hiring them, part B. The PMVBRY aims to create a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. Think of it like this. Part A encourages individuals, especially youth, and those maybe coming from the informal sector, to actively seek and enter formal work. This direct benefit helps offset initial costs they might face: job search, relocation, bridging that gap until the first paycheck. It increases the supply of formal labor.
Okay, makes sense.
Simultaneously, Part B reduces the perceived and actual hiring costs for employers, directly stimulating the demand for this newly available labor. This coordinated approach is precisely intended to accelerate formal job creation much faster than a single-sided intervention could, and to foster a more dynamic, inclusive, and ultimately sustainable labor market, making formal employment genuinely more attractive and hopefully more enduring.
So we've explored how the scheme aims to bring in and retain first-timers. But for these new employees to even have a place, companies need to be incentivized to expand. That's where Part B comes in, targeting employers. But before we get to that, let's really unpack Part A in more detail, focusing on those direct incentives for the new entrants. So who exactly is considered a first-timer in the eyes of this scheme? It sounds quite specific. It's a very precise definition. An employee who has never been a contributing member of the employee's Provident Fund Organization, or EPFO, or an exempted trust before the scheme started on August 1st, 2025. This means their very first EPF contribution must be credited from August 2025 onwards, and they have to join an EPFO registered establishment anytime between August 1st, 2025 and July 31st, 2027. So there's a 2-year window for joining. And here's another key detail. To be eligible, the employee's gross monthly wage at the time of joining must be up to 1 lakh rupees, $1,000.
Which is significantly higher than before, right?
Exactly. Much higher than previous schemes, which typically capped eligibility around 15,000 per month. That higher cap is crucial because it ensures the benefit reaches a much broader segment of the formal workforce. It goes beyond just the lowest wage brackets to include, entry-level professionals, skilled technicians, maybe even junior management roles. This broad eligibility means a lot of you listening who are perhaps new to the formal workforce or considering entering it could potentially benefit directly from this.
So let's talk about the money in Part A. My understanding is there's a one-time incentive up to 15,000 rupees, but it's not just handed over immediately. How does that disbursement work, and what's the thinking behind splitting it up?
You've hit on a critical design element there. The core of Part A is indeed a one-time incentive of up to 15,000, equivalent to one completed month's EPF wage. But as you rightly pointed out, it's strategically dispersed in 2 installments. And this structure is far more than just administrative convenience. The first installment, up to 7,500 rupees, is paid after the employee successfully completes 6 continuous months of service with the same establishment. This amount is calculated as half of the average EPF wage for those initial 6 months. Then, the remaining balance is paid after the employee completes a full 12 months of continuous service. What truly stands out about this, I think, is its savvy understanding of human behavior and, well, labor market dynamics. It's a sophisticated behavioral nudge, isn't it? You don't just get the money for joining, you earn it by staying.
So it tackles that early churn issue.
Precisely. It directly addresses one of the biggest challenges for new entrants in the formal sector, that initial churn. Many individuals, especially maybe those transitioning from the informal economy, might face initial challenges or uncertainties. This phased payment helps them navigate that initial learning curve, become fully productive. And it probably reduces the employer's hesitancy to take on first-timers due to perceived lack of immediate skills or maybe low initial productivity. But for the employee, it's a tangible, psychologically impactful direct cash transfer. Unlike the less visible, indirect contributions of older schemes like PMRPY or ABRY, which were just accounting benefits workers rarely felt.
Right, you don't see that in your bank account.
Exactly. This direct payment partially offsets initial costs for the employee and strongly encourages them to stay longer, fostering critical skill formation, building work habits, and increasing their chances of higher salaries and career progression down the line.
That's a clever way to encourage stability. Now, here's a truly unique aspect of the PMVBRY. The second installment isn't just about time served. It's also contingent on successfully completing a mandatory financial literacy course available through the EPFO portal. Why is the government baking something like financial education into a job scheme? What's the deeper strategy there?
That's a fantastic point because it really signals a shift in thinking. This isn't just about getting someone into a job. It's about building a financially resilient formal workforce, not just an employed one. This mandatory financial literacy piece is a forward-looking innovation aimed at significantly enhancing the stickiness of formal employment. Think about it. An employee who truly understands their personal finances, the value of savings, the long-term benefits of Social Security like their provident fund and pension, they're far less likely to drop out of formal employment due to immediate financial pressures or a misunderstanding of their benefits package.
So it helps them see the bigger picture.
Exactly. By fostering this financial awareness, the scheme aims to reduce attrition from the formal sector and deepen India's formal labor pool over time. The course itself sounds quite comprehensive, covering crucial topics like effective budgeting, understanding EPF and ESI schemes, banking basics, digital payments, exploring savings instruments like fixed deposits, public provident fund, national pension system, plus foundational knowledge on insurance and tax basics. And to further ingrain the habit of saving, a portion of that second incentive installment will even be strategically kept in a savings instrument or a dedicated deposit account for a fixed period.
Oh, interesting. So they can't spend it all immediately.
Right. This amount can then be withdrawn by the employee later, cultivating financial discipline and helping these new workers truly appreciate the comprehensive long-term benefits of formal employment beyond just the immediate wages. It's an investment in their future and in the stability of the formal labor market, really.
So, the scheme is meticulously empowering employees' entry, retention, financial smarts, but for these new jobs to appear, employers need significant incentives. That brings us neatly to Part B of the scheme. Okay, Part B. For employers, the incentives hinge on a crucial and rigorously defined concept: net additional employment. This means benefits are exclusively for new jobs created above and beyond a predefined baseline. Let's break down how this baseline works, because it's key. For existing establishments, those already registered with EPFO before August 1st, 2025, their baseline is the average number of employees they had from August 1st, 2024 to July 31st, 2025. A full year.
Right, the fixed historical period is critical.
Yeah, it cleverly prevents any artificial headcount depression just before the scheme starts, which, some might try to do to maximize claims, so that's a fair benchmark. Now, for new establishments, those registered on or after August 1st, 2025, the baseline is fixed at 20 employees.
Which is the EPFO registration threshold anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Recognizing their new entities formalizing their workforce. But it's not just about exceeding the baseline. Establishments also have to cross a minimum threshold of additional employment. For those with less than 50 baseline employees, they need to add at least 2 new eligible employees. For those with 50 or more baseline employees, they need to add a minimum of 5 new eligible employees. This tiered threshold is designed to filter out minor natural fluctuations in headcount and ensure the incentives are targeting, well, serious, sustained expansion, not just routine churn.
This structured requirement is, in fact, a direct and crucial lesson learned from previous schemes, where in some cases, benefits could be claimed by simply replacing one employee with another without actually growing the overall formal workforce.
Right, gaming the system.
Precisely. The PMVBRY specifically counters this. It ensures benefits are strictly tied to genuine, sustained commitment to expansion, not just headcount churn or employee rotation. And employers can claim benefits for both first-timers, those completely new to the EPFO system, and also for rejoinees. Rejoinees are previous EPF members who might have left the formal sector for a bit and are now rejoining an establishment during the scheme's registration period. The critical point is that these rejoinees must also contribute to the establishment's net additional employment figure.
So it still has to be real growth.
Exactly. If an employer hires someone who used to be formal, left, and now comes back, and that hire increases their total formal headcount above their baseline, they can claim the benefit for that rejoinee too. It's about incentivizing true, measurable growth in formal employment, acknowledging different pathways back in.
So once an employer crosses those thresholds and hires eligible employees, what kind of cash incentive are they actually looking at? How much money? Right? So employers receive a monthly cash payment for each eligible additional employee, provided their gross salary is up to that 1 lakh rupee ceiling. And this support continues for 2 years in most general sectors. The amount isn't fixed across the board. It's cleverly tiered based on the employee's EPF wage slab. This provides calibrated support. For employees with an EPF wage up to 10,000 rupees, the employer gets up to 1,000 rupees per month, basically 10% of the EPF wage. If the EPF wage is over 10,000 but up to 20,000, the incentive jumps to a flat 2,000 rupees per month. And for those with an EPF wage over 20,000, up to that gross ceiling of 1 lakh, the employer receives the maximum incentive of 3,000 rupees per month.
And these aren't paid out monthly, are they?
No, good point. They're dispersed as a lump sum every 6 months via direct benefit transfer, DBT, directly to the establishment's PAN-linked bank account. This simplicity makes the benefit much easier for employers to understand, calculate, and crucially factor into hiring and expansion decisions, directly impacting their confidence. For you as an employer, this means predictable, tangible support easing operational costs, not some complex indirect subsidy. Now, here's a significant strategic element that really catches the eye. While most sectors get this incentive for 2 years, manufacturing establishments are eligible for 4 years of support. Double the benefit period. That's a serious commitment. What's the strategic thinking behind giving manufacturing such a, supercharge?
That's an excellent observation, and it highlights a critical piece of industrial policy embedded within a labor market intervention. This extended 4-year support for manufacturing is an explicit and powerful strategic tilt. The question, of course, is why manufacturing? Well, it directly supports the Make in India initiative, aiming to boost domestic production and reduce import dependency. Manufacturing is seen as a high-priority, job-intensive sector, uniquely capable of absorbing large numbers of both semi-skilled and skilled workers.
A critical engine for mass job creation, then.
Exactly, making it a critical engine, especially for those entering the formal sector. Unlike some service sectors, manufacturing often provides more stable, blue-collar employment that can uplift entire communities. This sustained 4-year subsidy significantly lowers the long-term marginal cost of labor for manufacturers. This isn't just about encouraging short-term hiring. It's designed to influence long-term investment decisions, like building new factories, expanding production lines, investing in machinery. Knowing that labor costs will be partially subsidized for a longer duration makes India a more attractive destination for manufacturing investments, both domestic and international.
And it links up with other policies, too.
Absolutely. It creates a powerful synergy, complementing other major government initiatives like the National Manufacturing Mission and the Production Linked Incentive, or PLI, schemes. When you combine production incentives with labor incentives like this, you create a far more compelling environment for industrial growth and, crucially, for mass employment.
It's clear the design is meticulous, aiming for precision and impact. But for a scheme of this scale, implementation is often where the rubber meets the road. What are the biggest hurdles in actually getting this to work on the ground? And what safeguards are built in against, say, administrative bloat or even fraud? That's a crucial point. The PMVBRY is a centrally administered scheme. Its implementation falls under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, specifically through the Employees Provident Fund Organization, or EPFO.
Which is a statutory body, right, established by law.
Exactly, under the EPF Act of 1952. Gives it a strong legal foundation and, a proven track record managing worker funds. To ensure robust oversight for a scheme this big, there's a meticulously designed two-tiered committee structure. At the top, a high-level steering committee, chaired by the Secretary of the Ministry of Labor and Employment. They provide broad policy directions, review performance, recommend budget changes, and it's truly cross-functional, includes senior officials from key ministries expenditure, NACAIOG, DPIT, other labor-intensive ministries, ensures a holistic view.
So not just Labor Ministry operating in a silo.
Right. Then, an executive committee, chaired by the Central Provident Fund Commissioner of EPFO, handles the day-to-day operational side, managing IT systems, overseeing communication, handling grievances. They meet monthly to tackle emerging issues. The total financial outlay, as we said, nearly 10 trillion rupees, and it's explicitly fund limited, meaning no new liabilities once the scheme ends or the funds run out. And the admin costs, that 248 crore, are borne entirely by the central government. Dedicated resources for management. This sounds like a robust governance structure. But in this digital age, how is technology playing a role, especially when it comes to preventing fraud in such a massive scheme? This is fundamentally a digitally native scheme. What does that mean in practice for efficiency and transparency?
You've really hit on a core innovation here. It truly is digitally native, built from the ground up to heavily leverage modern digital infrastructure. Absolutely crucial, given the scale and the money involved. For secure employee registration, for example, it mandates face authentication technology, or FAT, for universal account number, UAN, generation for first-timers on the UMang app.
Face authentication, wow.
Yeah. Think of this as a highly robust first-line defense against fraudulent or ghost beneficiaries. Biometric verification ensures each new member has a unique, verified digital identity, reduces the chance of duplicates or fictitious entries. For financial transactions, direct benefit transfer, or DBT, is central. Incentives go directly into Aadhaar-seeded bank accounts for employees via the Aadhaar Bridge Payment System, ABPS, very secure. For employers, to their PAN-linked bank accounts. Minimizes intermediaries, drastically reduces leakage, ensures money reaches the intended beneficiaries quickly and securely.
That sounds like a sophisticated digital front end. But what about proactive fraud detection? It mentions API integration with other government portals. What does that actually look like in practice? How do they stop fraud before it happens?
This is where the scheme truly shines in terms of modern public finance administration, creating what you could call a digital fence around the whole system. Instead of waiting for audits or complaints, PMVBRY moves verification from reactive to proactive. The guidelines explicitly detail using Application Programming Interface, or API, integration to automatically cross-verify claims data from EPFO with info from a whole ecosystem of other government portals.
Like which ones?
We're talking GSTN, the Goods and Services Tax Network, CBDT for direct taxes, CBIC for indirect taxes and customs, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, even the Udyam portal for MSMEs. Imagine this, a firm claims many new hires, boosting headcount to claim benefits. The system, through these APIs, automatically checks if that company's GST filings show a corresponding increase in business activity, or if its electricity consumption is up, or if the corporate filings reflect the claimed growth.
So triangulating the data.
Exactly. If these data points don't align, say, lots of hires claimed, but GST filings are flat, a red flag is automatically raised for investigation before that 6-monthly incentive is paid out. This dramatically increases the risk and cost for anyone trying to defraud the system, a major advancement compared to traditional, often manual audits. And the Executive Committee will even draw upon experiences from other big programs like PLI and Amandar Parv Bharat Abhiyan to continuously refine these compliance protocols, keep the system robust and adaptive.
So it's not just about setting up a system, but constantly improving it and ensuring accountability. How is that woven into the scheme?
Exactly. Transparency and accountability are absolutely built in, a multi-layered approach. EPFO is tasked with developing a dedicated public-facing portal, real-time data on key performance indicators, KPIs, number of beneficiaries, expenditure, pending claims, even sectoral distribution of benefits.
So anyone can see how it's doing.
That's the idea. Public scrutiny, but also invaluable real-time data for policymakers. Beyond continuous monitoring, there are mandatory independent third-party evaluations. A midterm evaluation after 1 year, crucial for course corrections. And a comprehensive end-term evaluation within 3 months of closure to assess final outcomes. For grievance redressal, an online facility and a dedicated call center by EPFO with a strict target resolution time not exceeding 15 days, plus a clear escalation matrix.
And penalties for non-compliance.
Absolutely. Rules are clear. Benefits cease immediately for proven fraud or non-compliance. No incentives for establishments with pending EPFO inquiries or FIRs for fraud. And to cap it off, all expenditures will be rigorously audited according to central government instructions in consultation with the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Financial integrity is paramount.
It's clear that this is a meticulously designed scheme. Now, we've talked a lot about what makes it innovative. Let's place it in context and see how it builds upon and significantly differs from India's past employment initiatives. Right, so the PMVBRY isn't a standalone policy, is it? It feels like the culmination of an evolutionary process in India's employment incentive policies, learning crucial lessons from schemes like the Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Protsahan Yojana, PMRPY from 2016, and the Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana, ABRY, which came in 2020 during the pandemic. Those earlier initiatives laid some groundwork, achieved some successes, sure. But PMVBRY seems to make some fundamental strategic shifts, a real paradigm change.
Yes, a critical design choice here. And what's truly insightful is that fundamental strategic shift away from indirect subsidization of statutory contributions towards direct, tangible cash incentives for both new employees and employers. Under PMRPY and ABRY, government support was essentially an accounting benefit for the employer. Like the government would pay a portion of the employer's EPF contribution, technically reduce the cost of hiring, yes. But the benefit was often embedded in complex payroll calculations, not always immediately visible or easily quantifiable, especially for smaller MSMEs without big accounting teams.
Harder to factor into hiring decisions then.
It's exactly harder to calculate the precise net financial advantage, making the incentive less impactful. PMVBRY fundamentally changes this dynamic. The incentive is delinked from the statutory contribution rate. Instead, it's a simple tiered cash payment. An employer knows. Hire an eligible employee in X wage bracket, get Y rupees per month, paid every 6 months directly into their bank account. Makes it a far more powerful, tangible reward, driving a stronger behavioral impact on hiring because the benefit is clear, immediate, easy to factor into planning. Similarly, for the employee, Part A transforms that benefit from an invisible contribution to their retirement account into a highly visible, psychologically impactful direct cash transfer.
Getting that 7,500 rupees credited after 6 months feels real.
Much more real than knowing the government paid your PF. This shift to direct, visible cash incentives significantly enhances the scheme's attractiveness, likely to have a much stronger behavioral impact on both hiring by employers and the decision of individuals to join and, critically, remain in the formal workforce. It's about making the value proposition of formal employment absolutely unmistakable.
That really highlights the difference in approach. This isn't just a tweak, it's a paradigm shift. Designed for greater transparency, impact, a truly modern approach. Beyond that fundamental shift, what are some of the other key innovations specific to PMVBRY?
Well, there are several distinct innovations setting it apart. For one, that significantly higher eligible wage ceiling. As we discussed, up to 1 lakh rupees gross monthly wage at joining. A massive leap from the 15,000 in PMRPY means the scheme can benefit a much broader segment, including more skilled individuals previously left out, makes formal work attractive to a wider talent pool. Then there's the truly unique mandatory financial literacy mandate for employees, completely absent before, not just getting a job, but equipping new entrants with tools for financial discipline, long-term security, crucial for retention.
And the tech side.
And finally, yes, it's truly a digitally native scheme, leveraging advanced tech like face authentication, extensive API integration for incredibly robust proactive fraud detection. That level of tech sophistication and real-time cross-verification was simply unseen in its predecessors, makes PMVBRY far more secure and efficient for public fund disbursement.
It's clear that the PMVBRY is a highly sophisticated and forward-thinking policy. But as with any ambitious scheme, no policy is without potential challenges. So, what could be some of the headwinds this program might face, and how might they be addressed? Okay. Challenges. One of the first things that stands out as a potential challenge is the scheme's exclusive focus on the formal sector. I mean, it leaves out a vast majority of India's workforce that remains informal. What are the estimates? 85% still.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and it raises an important question. While a core goal is to formalize a portion of that informal workforce, its direct benefits don't reach the hundreds of millions still operating entirely outside the formal economy. This could inadvertently exacerbate the divide between formal and informal sectors, if not carefully managed. While the purpose is formalization, the benefits aren't immediately accessible to those needing to transition from informal work. Creates a potential barrier for some. This structural limitation means a huge segment might not see immediate, tangible benefits, could lead to disparities if not balanced with other policies.
Another critical concern is whether the scheme, despite intentions, might incentivize a quantity over quality trade-off in jobs. We're talking millions of jobs, but what kind of jobs?
That's a very valid concern. The tiered incentive structure, while providing some differentiation, could risk encouraging creation of many lower-wage, lower-productivity jobs. Employers seeking to maximize the subsidy relative to wage cost might prioritize hiring at the lower end of the eligible scale. While any job is often seen as better than no job, policymakers must be vigilant. Ensure it's driving sustainable, high-quality employment. Jobs offering genuine career progression, decent wages, not just boosting headcount with roles offering little long-term security or skill development.
And what defines high quality here?
Fair wages, social security, opportunities for skill enhancement, reasonable job security. We must ensure it doesn't just create subsidy-driven jobs that evaporate when the incentives end. Furthermore, we can't ignore the significant challenges for micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs. Absolutely crucial for mass job creation in India. Many smaller firms, especially in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, simply lack dedicated HR, accounting, legal staff.
Makes navigating all this digital stuff tough.
Incredibly difficult. Navigating the digital processes, compliance requirements, understanding baselines, documenting net additional employment, engaging with API portals, experience with earlier schemes like ABRY clearly show limited employer awareness, and digital documentation challenges can severely hamper participation from these vital job creators. Finally, employee retention is key. Incentives depend on staying put for 6-12 months. If an employee changes jobs or has a break before those milestones, eligibility resets. High attrition could significantly impact the scheme's effectiveness. And this is also tricky to monitor with contract employees, where incentives go to contractors, but principal employers might not track which specific employees got the benefit. Potential loopholes there.
So given these potential hurdles, what are the most practical, actionable recommendations for stakeholders, policymakers, employers to ensure PMVBRY maximizes its success? To genuinely contribute to Viksit Bharat.
Okay, for policymakers, targeted outreach for MSMEs is absolutely critical, not just general ads. Massive multilingual campaigns using local dialects, community networks. Crucially, dedicated help desks, online and physical, to assist MSMEs with digital processes, eligibility documentation. Learning from past schemes where awareness and paperwork were huge barriers. These help desks act as trusted guides. Additionally, data-driven dynamic evaluation is a must. Use that midterm evaluation after 1 year, not just to count jobs, but rigorously assess quality wages, tenure, sectoral distribution. Be prepared to fine-tune parameters, maybe adjust incentive tiers or thresholds to ensure it drives truly productive, sustainable employment. For employers, prioritizing employee retention is key. What's fascinating here is the scheme's architecture explicitly rewards workforce stability. Simply hiring isn't enough. Retaining them is crucial to maximize financial returns from both Part A and B.
So invest in HR training.
Exactly. Invest proactively in sound HR practices, offer meaningful on-the-job training, foster a positive, inclusive work environment to encourage new hires to stay beyond those initial incentive periods. Secondly, ensuring proactive compliance is essential. Adopt a compliance-first approach. Maintain up-to-date corporate and tax filings, meticulous payroll records clearly linking employees to EPF contributions. Be ready with documentation to validate net additional employment. This proactive approach helps avoid penalties, ensures continuous benefit disbursement, builds trust with implementing agencies.
For you, whether you're a new employee considering your first formal job, an employer navigating workforce expansion, or just an interested citizen keen on India's economic journey, understanding these nuances is absolutely key to appreciating the full impact and immense potential of the PMVBRY. #tag outro. Wow, what a deep dive into the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana.
We've seen how this scheme is a truly significant evolution in India's employment policies, designed not just to formalize the workforce and create millions of jobs, but to genuinely empower both first-time employees and job-creating employers. From its innovative dual-pronged incentives and mandatory financial literacy for new entrants, to its cutting-edge tech backbone face authentication, extensive API integration for proactive fraud prevention. It's truly a digitally native scheme aiming for a massive impact towards the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. It's sophisticated, meticulously structured, building on lessons learned while introducing incredibly innovative mechanisms.
Yeah, but this raises an important question for you as a listener, doesn't it? The PMVBRY is undoubtedly a powerful tool being deployed to shape India's economic future. But its ultimate, long-term success hinges not just on ambitious targets, but on its ability to evolve, adapt to unforeseen challenges, and crucially, ensure the jobs created are not just numerous, but also sustainable and high quality. As India collectively moves towards that grand vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047, how do you think policies like these can best balance the immediate, pressing need for widespread employment with the equally vital long-term goal of truly empowering a financially literate, secure, and resilient workforce? Especially given the ongoing challenges of the vast informal sector and the need for genuinely high-quality jobs. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? And one that will shape millions of lives.
Something profound to chew on as we wrap up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep digging into the policies shaping our world.
A new dawn is breaking over India. A wave of opportunity is flowing across the country, poised to empower the aspirations of millions. The government has unveiled a comprehensive initiative, the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana, designed to unlock career potential and supercharge business growth. Imagine a revolution silently sweeping across the nation, a catalyst for positive change. This initiative aims to ignite over 3.5 crore new beginnings, representing a fresh chapter for families, dreams taking flight, and potentially yours. The Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana is structured into two distinct components. The first component provides a unique incentive to individuals entering the workforce for the first time. A one-time incentive of up to 15,000 rupees is offered, with the first installment received after 6 months of continuous service. The second component, introduced after 12 months of service, is particularly noteworthy. It is linked to the completion of a financial literacy course, ensuring that recipients not only earn money, but also acquire knowledge of financial management. This direct deposit into their bank account serves as a catalyst for their personal growth. Furthermore, the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana extends a powerful incentive of up to 3,000 rupees to employers who hire new individuals. This incentive encourages more companies, both large and small, to open their doors and create new roles, thereby fostering economic growth and job creation. The support provided to the manufacturing sector extends for up to 4 years, further boosting this vital sector. This initiative represents a transformative force, a significant economic boost, and an invitation for all to participate in India's remarkable growth trajectory. The objective is to establish a cycle of prosperity, where each new job generates additional opportunities for others. This is not merely a scheme, it is an investment in your future. This presents an opportunity to construct a more robust and prosperous India, where your efforts are recognized and your aspirations are revived. The Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana represents a transformative initiative aimed at empowering our youth and fortifying our industries. With an allocation of nearly 1 lakh crore rupees, it provides direct financial assistance to both newly recruited employees and their employers, with a particular emphasis on revitalizing our manufacturing sector. It serves as a potent catalyst to propel your career and represents a significant advancement for all of us towards a developed India. If this initiative has ignited a spark within you, kindly share it with an individual who may benefit from this information today. Express your thoughts on the significance of this opportunity in the comments section, engage with the like button, and subscribe to receive updates that could profoundly impact your life. We extend our gratitude for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. The future holds promise. Opportunities are boundless, and collectively, We will construct a Viksit Bharat, a developed India. Until our next encounter, maintain curiosity, stay inspired, and believe in the potency of your aspirations.